Okay guys and girls, let's crack on with the Dragon 32. So I've got a nice little shortcut here set up, and that's the Dragon 2 up and ready to go. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. We've got a green screen, which I quite like, with a black writing, pixelated, but that's what you would expect from 1982. So copyright 1982, Dragon Data Limited. So 16 kilobit basic interpreter 1.0, 1982 by Microsoft. So this must be Microsoft's basic interpreter. So this will be a 16K basic interpreter, and it will be sitting in the ROM of the Dragon 32. So what I was intending to do here was, just as I work through some of this, I was just going to jump onto ChatGPT and then just ask it some questions, and then we can have a wee look together and we can learn something together. It's much better doing this, I think, than me pretending to know all of this stuff when I don't. Okay, let's have a wee think what we're going to ask ChatGPT. Can you tell me? Can you tell me about who created the Dragon 32? Oh, Dragoon 32, Dragon 32, and let's have a wee look and see what we've got. Say, Dragon 32, proper bit of British computing history, that one. The Dragon 32 was developed and produced in the early 1980s by a company called Dragon Data Limited, which was based in Port Talbot, South Wales. Here's the story in a nutshell. So I'll read this little section here because it looks quite interesting. The origin. So the Dragon Data Limited was founded in 1982 as a subsidiary of Metoy, the toy company famous for corgi model cars. Metoy was looking to diversify because the toy market was struggling. What's a good idea? And home computers were booming. Very good idea. With the ZX Spectrum, the BBC Micro and Commodore 64 all hitting the scene. Now, I couldn't afford a BBC Micro. It was, at the time, when I think back, now I'm trying to remember, it was about £200 or £300 for the BBC Micro. You could get the Commodore 64, I think it was about £180, £190. And the Commodore 64 was still a little bit out of my price range at that time. And we went for the Dragon 32, and that was about I think it was £127. I've got £127 in the back of my head. Now I might be wrong here. In fact, I might be wrong with all of those, but that's what I'm thinking in the back. So ground. In fact, I'll put the question in and ask in a minute and find out how much they did cost. Okay, so jump into the market. So the design, the Dragon 32 was entirely original design. It was heavily based on the TRS-80 colour computer, the Tandy. Okay, now it uses the Motorola 6809E CPU. It's an 8-bit CPU with some 16-bit like features. Okay, and a few extra bits of information here. So the machines, I had a Dragon 32, but there was a Dragon 64 released as well. And sadly, Dragon Data didn't last long. Metoy itself went into receivership in 1983, and Dragon Data followed suit in 1984. So that was quite quick, wasn't it? I got mine in 1982 when it first came out. So 2 years later. And you think about the time as well, the market was absolutely going bonkers with people buying their first computers. So that's a pity, that, isn't it? You'd imagine that if they got some decent investment, that they may have well continued. Okay, so the assets were later bought by a Spanish company which tried to keep Dragonline alive in Spain. Oh, that's good. But that fizzled out in 1985. So what's the legacy? Despite its short life, Dragon 32 had a very robust build quality. It did. Whenever I bought it, the nice thing about it was that obviously you didn't have monitors at that time. We had TVs, but I had a nice little black and white TV, and it was just a tiny little thing, and I could literally just sit it on top of the Dragon 32 and put a couple of books behind it, and it sat there and it looked like the TV was actually part of the computer. So it was quite nice, quite well set out. A very versatile, so a surprisingly advanced CPU. We'll find that out as we go and work our way through it. So a small but passionate user and hobbyist community that still exists today. Well, yes, I suppose we can count ourselves amongst this hallowed group. Hence, emulators like Xroar. Okay, so let me just ask a little question here. Why don't we ask it, can you tell me the relative costs of the Dragon Commodore 64 and BBC Micro when released around 1982? Around 1982. Oh, you can see this. Maybe can I make this screen a little bit bigger? Alt plus, I think. Make the screen bigger. Control plus. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, so well, there's some prices there. There we go. This is what I was looking for. So, yeah. Okay, so the Dragon 32, 175 to 199 it was. Okay, so I was thinking 127, but 175, yeah, that's maybe about right. And the Commodore 64, didn't realise the Commodore 64 was as expensive as that. It's almost the same. It's the same as the BBC Micro. Yeah, and the BBC Micro, 399. I think the Commodore, you could 299. Yeah, it sounds about right. Okay. Anyway, that's the relative prices. So it's some interesting stuff, and we'll come out of that, and we're going to go in here and let's see. We'll just have a little play about first of all, just to get the interface and see exactly what's happening here. So I think you can use the print command if you want to print stuff to screen. Print 2 plus 3. Okay. Print 2, and it's shift and 6 to get the power. 2 to the power of 5. Okay, it's in 2 to the power of 5. Look at that. That 2486, that should be 32. Okay, but why does it give us 32.00000001? You would have thought that it would use an integer arithmetic for purely integer values, but obviously it isn't. You know, it's using a float for this. But remember, the float, there's no floating point processor, or there's no floating point unit on this. Okay, the 6809 never had anything like that. What they're using here is within the basic interpreter, they're using a programmed floating point. So they're programming, in effect, the floating point numbers, okay, rather than actually actually building it in as part of the hardware. So it's still giving a floating point result here, which is quite strange. Anyway, that's interesting enough. Now, what else can we do? I know we clear the screen. Let's see, clear. No, CLS. So CLS clears the screen, and we've got print as well. Now, another thing you can do is, rather than print, you can put a little question mark. You can put 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. Okay, so we've got question mark, we've got print, and we've got clear the screen. So we've got 3 nice little commands under our belt already. Okay, so let's see what games we've got here. So file, cassette tape, and we will insert a little C90 tape, and let's see, 98, there's Bulldozer, 1988, so that's quite a late game. So let's have a look at that. Open it up, and then we'll see load M. Whoa, look at that. Whoa. Press any key. Right. Oh, the arrows left and right. That's spacebar. No. Oh, let's have a look and see. Fire. Shift. Whoa. Right, now I can see what this is. Yeah, but you get a... Whoa, 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 whoa. And then we get... no. That's actually quite good. I quite like this. So we must get extra points whenever we get that, but oh, yeah, that's quite good. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. It's actually quite difficult. Anyway, you get the gist of this game. There's not much in the way of colour. It's quite fast. Possibly I can change the settings on it to make it a bit easier. Anyway, you get the idea of this game. I think we can move on. We'll check something else out. Okay, so let's have a look and see if we can get something else here. Cassette and insert. So actually remember a game. Ugh, there it's there, ugh. So we'll try a bit of ugh. So we'll see load M, and there's ugh running up, and we can do EXEC. Wow, now we're cooking. Hold down any key for the game, else wait for demonstration. Well, maybe wait for the demonstration. Oh, I remember this. Yes, this is coming back to me. So you've got to run up there and get. You got to get an egg and bring it back down. Right, okay. So the demonstration's fine. I kind of know what you want me to do. G. Okay. So, okay, that's the game. So you get an idea of the game. I'm not actually playing it. It's still in the demonstration. Okay. But you get an idea of what the game is. You've got to grab the wee things and bring them back down, and then stick them down the bottom again. That's actually quite good. Ish. Right, game over. Let's get a game. Press any key. Hold down any key. Hold down any key. I'm holding down any key. Are you sure the joystick? Are you using joysticks N? Press enter key now for the game. Struct. Right, okay. Yeah, I don't know the keys. I've not got the keys. Okay, I've not got the keys. I should have done the instructions. Oh! So, S down, D for down, U for up. No. Anyway, you get an idea of that game, don't you? So let's write our first program here. Now I remember from memory you could put in, for example, 10. Right, it makes a strange noise, to be careful. Right, 10, and we can go space print, and I can put in my name Ross. I think I'll put a space in there. Oh, print space Ross. Now I know if I put these colons, it repeats it over and over and over again. Okay, so press enter, go 20 space, go to 10, and then we can do run, and there we go. I think actually that was probably my very first piece of code I ever wrote. I got getting my name to print on the screen. So quite exciting. How do I stop it? Escape, there you go. And we can do CLS, and that's our very first program. So I'll close this down because it makes a hell of a noise actually. You can hear it, I'm not sure why it does that. That's enough for our coding in our games for tonight. I will drop in the next couple of days and we will proceed to look at some variables and naming our variables and constants, and we'll write some more little bits of code, and we'll see if we can find some other games to play. So that's all for this video. I'll get you on the next video.